There you go.
Well, today I'm going to talk about the month of May. And I had a sister, she passed away some years ago. She was born on the 23rd of May. And my mother was a very romantic kind of lady. And because there was a song that went, Janine, I dream of lilac time. Your eyes, they beam in lilac time. Da 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 da. Yet all the while you smile when nobody knows. Janine, I dream in lilac time. And sure enough, when you get to the 23rd of May, it's right in the middle of lilac time. Now, I talked to Janine Jordahl this morning, and she was named Janine for the same reasons that my sister was named Janine. How do you like that? Janine, I dream of lilac time. And oh, the lilacs are so beautiful. Well, there's also another important thing that happens in May. And it's called May Day. Now that's when kids go out there and pick wild flowers, whatever flowers are available, and they make May baskets. Now many years ago, maybe about 25, 30 years ago, I remember they had something about May Day on the television, and they compared how it went in Norway and Sweden. And in Norway and Sweden, the little kids came with baskets of different kinds of flowers. And over in the Soviet Union, where the Russians are, what did they do for May Day? They had a big military parade. Tanks, guns, airplanes, boy. It was all about war and being strong and tough and ready to fight. Just the opposite of those beautiful children in Norway and Sweden. Well, when my kids were growing up, we would make May baskets, and we'd tell them, go out and find the flowers. And they'd always find dandelions, and we had about 3 colors of violets. And there were other flowers that they'd find too. There's a kind of a blue flower that's sort of like a little lily. And I happen to have hundreds of them in my yard. And so, for May Day, my kids would make a little basket of real flowers, and then they'd go to the neighbors and knock on the door, or ring the doorbell, and then run. Well, my wife, Rita, was very good at catching the kids who rang the doorbell. They'd come up the steps and they'd knock on the door or ring the doorbell and leave a May basket of flowers. And Rita would catch them every time. And they'd squeal and giggle because she'd give them a big hug. Well, things changed. The last time we had kids at the door with May baskets, they didn't have any flowers. Just candy. There's a big difference between candy and flowers. I think we're sort of hung up on candy and other kinds of sweets in our world. And wouldn't it be nice if all the children went back to finding flowers, and there are quite a few flowers that bloom before May Day even. Now, if you've ever gone out on the Melanofi Trail, you'll find a whole lot of different kinds of flowers there. There are little trilliums. We used to call them lilies, but they have, 3 petals, and they're white. And there are hundreds of them out on the Melanofi Trail. And then there are the ones that come in different colors. I'm trying to think of what they're called. Hepaticus. Yep. And the leaves kind of look like liver. And hepatitis is a disease that's mostly pain in the liver. So anyway, there are all kinds of wildflowers. So that if you wanted to find a basket full of wildflowers, if you went to the right places, I think, well, in my yard, I know you could get about 5 different kinds. And the daffodils would be among those kinds. But people don't go out looking for flowers like they should or like they used to, which is way too bad. Yeah, we do a lot of things that are kind of dumb. Now, I like the fact that the robins come in the springtime, and it's fun to watch them find all kinds of things to eat in the grass. As soon as it's grass, they go around and they find all kinds of things. And then there are the little creatures like the chipmunks. Oh boy, they come out of the rocks and they have a good time running around. And then the birds start to appear. Well, the robins are among the early ones, but also the goldfinch. I saw goldfinches this morning. And when they fly, they go up and down, and that's so any other big birds trying to catch them, it's a little hard to find. Are they going to be up or down? But the goldfinches were there. And then the cardinals. Now, the cardinals are bright red. And sometimes a cardinal sees its reflection in the window and flies into it, bang! Too dumb to realize it was just flying into itself. Well, one year, several years ago, about 25 years ago, we had 3 female cardinals where they have kind of orangish heads, but they aren't as colorful as the men. And they were sitting on the roof of my neighbor's house. And there were these bright red males coming around, bright red, showing off, and kind of fighting with each other once in a while. And I watched, and the females were looking back and forth like this, as if to say, when are they going to stop showing off and get down to business? Have you ever noticed in the world of birds, it's the males that have to show off by building the best nest or having the strongest call, whatever their call is. Now, a cardinal has a really big call. I bet you can't do it. Well, I enjoy watching the way that the birds and the other creatures behave because they each have a different way of behaving. And they're all smart, at least at one thing. And in fact, every creature in God's world is better than any other creature in at least one thing. Can you make honey? Only the bees can do it. And every creature is expert in at least one thing. And I like noticing how every creature is smarter than I am in at least one way. Because it means that we people aren't as smart as we think we are. In fact, we cause a lot more trouble than any of the other creatures. Yep. We can mess things up. And every time we cure one problem, we cause another 3 or 4. We never get done causing trouble. So it's a good time to look at the birds and listen to them. Look at the trees. And oh, have you ever noticed maples are the trees that bloom first before they make leaves? That's what makes maples different. And they each have a different kind of little blossom. And the oaks, all the different kinds of oaks make the leaves first. And then later on come the seeds. And that's the big difference between maples and oaks. So everything is different, and people are different, and we need to be different. Now, some people think that the big difference is the color of the skin. And so people with dark-colored skin aren't as good as people with white skin, for sure. Well, I have noticed that people come in all shades of tan and black and white, pink. But that's not the biggest difference. When I look at people, we're all shaped differently. Some people are tall and slim. Some people are big and wide. Oh my goodness. And the differences are important. Now, I have a sister who couldn't have children. I don't know why. Anyway, she and her husband adopted 2 kids. The first one was kind of a combination of Jamaican and something else. She was kind of brown and very, very feisty. And she was a hard one to raise because she was full of energy, and she was always asking questions. But the second one that they adopted was a beautiful black boy, very handsome and very smart. In fact, he's so smart that he has a secret kind of job for the military. And he lives in Germany. And what he does is so super secret he can't tell anybody. But, would you believe it? Now he stands 6 feet 6 inches tall. And his first assignment in the Navy was to be an expert in messages and coding and that sort of thing. And it was in a nuclear submarine where the ceilings are only 6 feet tall. So he had to do a lot of crouching. But when he was stationed in Germany, which is where he's stationed right now, he met a little Japanese girl. And they got married. And they have 2 beautiful little boys named Kai and Ko. And those 2 little boys are both smart, but one is going to be taller than the other. And it's kind of interesting to see how people can fall in love with people who don't look like themselves. Yeah. And maybe it's a good thing. So the differences are just as important as the way we are alike. But we all come from the same place. And I think I could know a song about that. Oh, yes. Going home, I'm just going home. Going home, Lord, I'm going home. I've been traveling many years, now I'm going home. Had some trials, had some tears, now I'm going home. Going home, going home. Well, where do we go when we pass on? We go to where we came from. We all came from God, and all creatures came from God. And when we die, we go back to God. That's a nice thing to think about. Well, I hope you all have a good day, and one of these days I'll be seeing you.
Thank you, Pastor Hanson.
You're more than welcome.
Huh.